The Leap Foundation proudly presents the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman. Dr. Bill is a TV host, New York Times best-selling author, two-time Guinness World Book record holder, fitness guru, celebrity cosmetic dentist, and philanthropist who founded the Leap Foundation. Here's Dr. Bill.
Hey, Dr. Bill here. So I am super duper excited to introduce you to our next mentor. And also, we got our final dates for Leap. So here it is, July 17th to the 23rd at UCLA. We will run two programs, okay? We will have the live program where we hope to have 450 to 500 students live, vaccinated, there at UCLA, and then thousands and thousands and thousands of them virtually. So Leap will be awesome this year. We will definitely have Usher. We will definitely have Richard Branson. We will definitely have Anthony Hopkins. We will definitely have Paula Abdul and a lot of other great people there. So you need to be at Leap or send your 15 to 25-year-old kids to Leap. One of the things that makes Leap so special is us being able to introduce these kids to real live mentors. And, you know, we tell kids at Leap over and over again, copy genius. You know, I mean, that's the fastest road to success. You know, when I opened my dental practice, they didn't need another dentist in Beverly Hills. I went and shadowed 5 of the most successful dentists in Beverly Hills and copied them. I did all the good stuff they did and tried to not do the bad stuff they did. And so by bringing in these great mentors, we give these students an opportunity to meet some amazing people. So today I get to introduce you to somebody that I have literally watched grow up since I think she was 5 or 6 years old. So let me tell you a little bit about Abby Anderson. Abby Anderson is a 24-year-old singer-songwriter from Dallas, Texas. She started playing piano at the age of 5, which led her to her new hometown in Nashville, Center for Music. Abby has toured with Rob Thomas, Brett Eldredge, Chase Rice, Russell Dickerson, and many more. She's also been named one of CMT's Next Women of Country and has been highlighted on Pandora, Spotify, and Apple Music's Artists to Watch list. Abby has amassed over 100 million streams on all platforms and is gearing up to release her next single album called Bad Posture. Don't have bad posture today. On October 22nd. Personally, I've known her since she was about 5 or 6 years old, and I have watched her grow. I actually was there for her debut performance at the Grand Ole Opry, where she got a standing ovation. And the MC looked at me and said, "Doc, I haven't seen a standing ovation here in over 5 years." But she had the whole house on her feet when she sang her song, Make Him Wait, which you have to look on YouTube or Venmo. It's unbelievable. It's one of my favorite Abby Anderson songs. Abby Anderson, welcome to Meet the Mentor.
Hey, dang, Dr. Bill, I'm going to take you on the road with me to introduce me from now on.
Well, you know I'm
enthusiasm every day.
I've got the title of #1 fan, and I always will be. It's crazy because I've actually known you since you were like 5 or 6 years old, and I always knew you kind of dabbled in music, but it wasn't until I saw you perform at a dental event, the Crown Council event that your father runs with his brother, that I was like literally blown away.
Thank you. Thanks, Dr. Bill. Well, you might have known me for that long, but you don't look like you've known me that long. I don't know how you look exactly the same. It's ridiculous.
So, Abby, tell me how you actually got started in music. Like, what was the impetus for getting you to start playing the piano?
Ooh, well, you and my dad are really good friends, so you know that he had me in classical piano lessons at the age of 5. And my parents are really, really cool. They never forced us to do anything. The only thing they ever made us do was take piano lessons. And so the deal in our home was you got to start piano lessons at age 5, and the only way you can stop is if you can sight read every hymn in the hymn book. We grew up going to church and singing in church. Or what was the other thing? Yeah, it was like sight read every hymn in the hymn book, or you have to age out. You have to turn 18 and graduate. And so I hated reading music. I didn't like, can you imagine, Dr. Bill? I imagine that, you know, I don't like people telling me what to do. Okay.
I know that, Abby.
And so I hated reading sheet music. And I had the most incredible piano teacher who made a deal with me. And he said, look, I know you don't like me. I know you don't like reading this music. But for every classical piano song you learn, because it's going to teach you the technique you need for later in life, I'm going to help you write a song. And so that perked my ears up, and I was like, well, okay, you know. So I started writing. I was always noodling around on piano and, you know, wanting to put on a show for everybody from a really young age. But my piano teacher definitely opened the doors to kind of giving me that space to create and feel confidence in my own creations. So that's kind of where it started.
When did you, because, well, I actually see like three parts to this. I mean, you definitely learned how to play the piano well. I know you play the guitar as well. You know, you have an amazing voice and you write.
Thank you.
At what point did you actually realize that you had a voice? I mean, like a really great voice.
Well, thank you. I don't know, Dr. Bill. I feel like I always joke with my family, and my mom always tells me, I think I was just a big old attention hog first. And I think I just knew that I always wanted to be a performer and entertain people. And I think my voice kind of followed after that. I was listening to some of the songs I recorded when I was like 16, and I sound totally different. And so I feel like I'm just in the last 2 years, I've finally like really come into my own voice and my own sound. But I always knew I was going to put on a show for people. So I think that's what happened.
I'll tell you something. The first time I saw you perform, I was blown away. I mean, I always knew you dabbled in music and this and that, but I was expecting to be one of those things where it's like, I'm just going to have to be nice and say, oh, wow, you were good. But like, I'm like, wow, not only is she good, like she should be a superstar. I mean, everybody should be listening to your music. And it's not just the piano and the guitar and the voice. Your presence on stage is amazing. Your sense of style is amazing. Like you really command the audience when you're up there. And that's something very few performers actually get to a point to be able to do.
Well, thank you. I think I definitely learned it from my parents, you know, because my dad's a speaker. And so from a young age, he always taught us to project. And I don't know, Dr. Bell, I think my parents always instilled in me and all my sisters, just like, we all just know our worth and our value. And I'd like to think that confidence comes across on stage. So I don't think I can take much credit for that.
No, that's amazing. And I always tell parents, the greatest gift you can ever give your kid is not a car, it's confidence. Yeah, because confidence is currency in this world. And without it, you'll go nowhere. And with it, you can conquer any mountain, really.
Yeah, I agree. It's a great gift. And I'm thankful I have parents smart enough to know that for sure.
And then tell me about the songwriting. So your teacher actually helped kind of inspire you to start writing songs?
Yeah, so he would so for every song you learn, right, there's like an entire world of theory called music theory that goes behind it. So theory is kind of like what makes chords sound good together. And so he taught me like the Nashville number system is what we call it. And basically like every chord has a number. And so from age 12, I was being introduced to like this college level music theory that he introduced me to and taught me all of that stuff. I'm not saying I'm like a master at it, but it definitely gave me, I think, a leg up in understanding like why certain chords sound good together and how to make them sound different rather than just playing like the the same C, F, and G over and over again, if that makes sense.
Do you remember the very first song you ever wrote?
Oh gosh, yeah, it actually didn't suck that bad. I mean, it's pretty bad.
What? Play it. I know you got your guitar there.
No.
Come on.
I'm gonna play it for you. It was called my big sister and I, Ashlyn, wrote it together. I was like 10 and she was 11, and we thought it was like a big old hit, and we're like, oh, the radio's gonna play us and we're gonna be a sister duo and be famous. It was just this little song called Daydreaming, and it was about this boy I had a crush on, daydreaming about falling in love and marrying him. It's quite mature for my age. I probably shouldn't have been writing a song like that at 10, but it was cute.
You have a big album coming out in about 2 weeks, right?
Yeah, so the first song coming out is called Bad Posture. That's coming out October 22nd. So if you go to my Instagram page, Abby Anderson Music, or TikTok, you can pre-save it there. And then after that, yeah, we got a whole album done during the pandemic, and that's gonna be rolling out over the next few months.
So can you give us like a little preview of Bad Posture, maybe?
Oh, heck yeah. Hold on. Just so happens I have my guitar ready. It's like you call me or something. Can you hear the guitar okay?
Yeah.
All right, cool. So I wrote this, just a quick backstory. I signed a record deal when I was 19. I moved to Nashville when I was 17. Signed a record deal 2 years later. And I quickly found out that I think a lot of record deals are awesome. I quickly found out the reality of them, if that makes sense. And I was kind of confused when I signed. I was like, wait a minute, like I have to listen to you now? Like I can't just write the music I want and record it and put it out. You don't just hand me a check and I go do whatever the hell I want. It wasn't like that at all. And I think I realized during the pandemic it was, I don't mean to like bash them or anything. Like they're, it's business, but I think I realized very quickly that I wasn't gonna get very far trying to hide my own light and trying to like water down my own music. And so I just told my record label president, I think you gotta let me go. I think you should go sign a blonde hair, blue eyed girl and maybe she'll listen to you because I'm tired of pissing you off every day and I don't want to fight anymore. And it was the best decision I ever made. And that's kind of where this record was born and where this song was born. So this is called Bad Posture.
All right.
I shrink myself to make you feel taller. And I will complain till your problems feel smaller. You'd say I was too much, I was too loud. So I would say sorry and keep my voice down. I shrink myself to make you feel taller. Burden on my shoulders. All the words that you put on me like a weight. Yeah, I used to have that posture, but since you've been gone, I stand up straight. That's all it takes for you right there.
That's
I'm sorry, my voice is so bad right now. I went to I had a gig in Athens, Georgia last night and drove all night, so I'm sounding a little tired. I'm sorry.
Oh, also, people don't know this. You got married this last weekend and we're yelling.
I did.
And it was honestly the best wedding I've ever been to. I love the fact that your husband's little brother actually married you guys. It was so awesome. It was awesome.
Well, I'm happy you were there. You were partying right along with us, so thank you.
So let me ask you this. I know it's been a long, hard road to get to where you are right now. What do you think was your biggest challenge along the way, and how did you solve that?
Such a good question. Man, I think it's funny when you first moved to town, I was 17 and I was telling myself, you hear from other artists like, hey, don't let people tell you what you are. Make sure you listen to yourself, make sure you make the music you want to listen to, and don't let them water you down. Don't let them tell you what to record, right? So you tell yourself that. But then it actually happens when you sign the record deal. And it just slowly, I don't know, Dr. Bill, it just kind of inched up on me, I guess. The people pleaser in me, that middle child need to want to appease everybody and make everyone happy and not cause too much of a stink, And so I think the hardest part for me was finally, for lack of a better term, honestly, like finally having the balls to speak up for myself and finally feeling that surety in my own voice and kind of saying, enough's enough. It's time to make my own music and write and record the stuff that I actually love. Because if there's one thing, there's nothing worse in this world than to be a creative person creating things that you don't love and having to put music out into the world that you don't love and having to sell something that you aren't passionate about. I mean, you just feel like a salesman, and true art, you don't have to sell. It just speaks for itself, I think. And what's crazy is ever since I made that decision to go out on my own, to finally record the things I loved, I mean, life just became effortless. And I know people say all the time, like, it takes hard work, it takes 10,000 hours. I believe that's true. I mean, I practice piano every day for 3 hours. I definitely have my 10,000 hours in. But when it comes to business decisions and the people you work with and the people that are going to help you achieve your goals, that to me is where the effortless role comes in. I mean, you've probably experienced that when you're on the right path, things just kind of happen. When you're where you are, where you're supposed to be spiritually, mentally, physically, life is just so much more beautiful. And I started teasing this new music kind of on TikTok and social media, and the response and reaction I got from this piece of work compared to my old stuff is just night and day. You don't have to try. It's awesome.
I've known you long enough to be able to make this statement and be really confident about it. You have great instincts.
Thank you.
And that's rare. It's really rare.
Thank you. I think, Dr. Phil, too, it's like learning I agree with you. I think like I do have good instincts. It was just a matter of finally listening to them. Finally listening. Everyone has their own natural intuition. And I think when you finally learn to listen to it, like, the answers to everything. I mean, not everything, but I finally had to learn to listen to my own instincts and listen to my own intuition. And that was the great awakening.
No, I think that's amazing, and I'm super excited to see how you soar with these new wings that you've acquired. And I think it's really, really beautiful that you found such a great life partner in the man that you married to be by your side and help support it, because it's hard to do it on your own. And having somebody there that's supporting you day in and day out and loving you hard day in and day out gives you the strength and the fortitude that you need to push on. So I think you're in a perfect storm right now to blow things up.
Thanks, Dr. Bill. Well, it takes good people like you in my corner, and it takes a village, so yeah. That's for sure.
Yeah, and anything I could do, I always will. I was telling you, and in fact, I pulled your husband aside at his wedding. I said, as soon as Abby wants to do a showcase at the Grammy Foundation.
Oh my gosh.
Because I have friends there, and I think I can make it happen. I've done it before.
Thanks, Dr. Bill. I will take you up on that. I definitely will.
When you're ready, nothing would make me happier. And you guys can just stay at my house. I have a guest room for you. I'll set up.
Thank you.
All
I
right.
appreciate it. Thank you.
Let me ask you this. If I'm a young artist, listening to this podcast, and I want to, go into music like you did, can you kind of give me a little bit of a roadmap? I mean, I understand the practice thing. And it's funny.
Yeah.
At your wedding, I think it was your sister who said, in the beginning, we had to take piano lessons. But then at a certain point, all of a sudden, Abby's like playing like hours and hours and hours. So give me an idea of, kind of like what somebody would need to do in order to really have the best chance for being successful in the music industry today.
Well, I've been asked this before, and I always say, first of all, I don't know everything. I'm still learning because the industry's changing. It's been changing. And so it's really exciting to be an artist today with direct access to millions of people, right? I'd say the biggest thing, ask questions. I mean, it's crazy to me. I don't feel like, well, I don't want to say that, but I feel like I got to where I was in Nashville quicker than the average person because I was very, very interested in people. And I always try to make that a point. I mean, you'll be surprised how much people want to help you when you take an interest in them. It's pretty easy.
Go back to like from the beginning, taking piano lessons,
Oh yeah, okay. So yeah, I mean,
I don't mean at the point like, okay, you're there now. I'm talking about.
I got you. You need like a map.
And map it out, baby.
All right. Well, I'll just tell you what I did. So I actually started homeschooling, and I don't recommend this for everyone. I definitely did not take like a prescribed route, probably, but I started homeschooling when I was 15. Because I knew music was what I was going to do. And so I went into my dad's office and I told him, hey, I want to move to Nashville. I want to homeschool so that I can keep touring. Because by that time, I'd been playing a lot of shows in Texas and just getting my hours in that way. And so I told him my plan is to graduate as quickly as possible and get my butt out to Nashville. And in his credit, he was cool with it. He was like,
okay, so you skipped an important step. Okay, first of all, you need to learn a skill, right?
Sure. So, yeah, that'd be good.
I mean, that's kind of a given. Then you said, you wanted to homeschool so you could perform, and I think that's an important part is really getting out there. So, how did you start performing, and where? I mean, I actually saw you perform in your church.
Yeah.
Once, but where did you start doing these performances?
I mean, it was everywhere I could, whether it was church, little coffee shops in my hometown. And then it's, word spreads pretty fast. So I'd start playing these little gigs in small bars, small coffee shops. And then the booker of that show would reach out to another booker and be like, hey, I just had this girl come play here. You should have her at your venue too. And you just kind of quickly, get your name known within at least for me, I think in the DFW, Dallas-Fort Worth area, just playing as many gigs. And it's as simple as looking up the venue you want to play and emailing. I mean, they literally have their emails on the website. Just email the booker.
I don't know if you did this, but I'll tell you, this is one thing I did that was super helpful for me. When I first started doing TV and I was like very green and not good at all, I used to record it all and really critically sit there and watch myself and see all the stupid stuff I did. So I would kind of learn from that. I don't know if, when you started doing these gigs, were you ever recording it and watching, or or was it just more of a feeling and seeing how the audience related to you and all?
I'd say I'm getting better at now. I record my shows, and now I record the audio and listen to it just for like vocal technique and stuff. But in the beginning, I mean, on stage, Dr. Bill, like, when something's working and when something's not. From what you're saying to a song you're singing, whether, how you feel, and whether or not the audience is feeling it too. And it's really uncomfortable when they're not feeling it. So you learn very, very quickly what works and what doesn't. And I think that's where another 10,000 hour rule comes in, is you got to play crappy shows. And you gotta be confident enough to suck. And like at the end of the day, be like, you know what? That was a really bad show. I don't feel good about that. This is what I'm gonna change next time.
All right. Start doing all these shows. You move to Nashville. What's the next step? Like, how do you get an agent? I mean, how do you start to kind of build a team?
Yeah, there's this, you taught this too, but my dad always says, you're only 7 people away from meeting someone that you need to know, or 7. How does he say it? Like, you're 7 people away from, what does he say?
That's what it is. You're
yeah.
people away. It's that whole Kevin Bacon thing, right?
Yes. Yeah. So everything's networking in Nashville. So when I moved to town, I stayed with some family friends of my dad's. I was 17, so they gave me a place to stay for like a month until I could sign off on my own apartment. And I knew one other person in Nashville who is my agent today. Her name's Kylan Sharp. She's at CAA, which is a big booking agency. I met her through, again, just a random booker contact in Texas. I played a show, and he was like, hey, have you ever thought of moving to Nashville? And I'm like, yes, sir, absolutely. Well, hey, I know this agent out there. Her name's Kylan. Here's her number. You should give her a call and just ask for advice. So met my agent right there, one person. When I moved to Nashville, obviously, I told her, I was like, hey, I'm here. My boots are on the ground. Can you introduce me to key players you think I ought to know? I'm not asking for a record deal. I'm not asking for anything. I just want to meet people I need to know as a new artist in Nashville. And so she took me to lunch with head honchos at CMT, which is Country Music Television. She took me around to a lot of publishing offices, which a publishing is just for writing. So instantly through this one person, I met all these people on Music Row. That would be really helpful. And I just went in there and played them music. And so I will say that when you're called on the carpet, probably best to be prepared and know what the hell you're doing. So I will say that, like, I was ready to perform, when the opportunity came. And very quickly, just through that, I started playing shows in Nashville because of Kylan. She would call a venue for me. And they'd be like bars in Nashville, nothing big, free gigs. And she'd say, hey, this girl's new in town. Can you give her like 30 minutes to play a few songs? Once you start playing shows in Nashville, it's such a small town in the space of like Music Row that hopefully word gets around fast, And it did, at least for me. And so I'd play a show and people would come up to me after the show and be like, who are you? What's your phone number? Let's get together and write. And then you start writing your butt off and you start co-writing and you just meet a whole network of people through writing. Tell me if I'm like going too fast.
This is awesome.
Okay. And so through co-writing, you meet more people, and then you meet more and more successful writers. And so pretty soon I found myself an unsigned, unknown artist in Nashville writing with these A-list songwriters who've written every song you've ever heard on the radio. And so then I would just ask them questions like, how the hell do I get a record deal? Like, who do I need to meet? And they were just really kind and wanted to help me out. And they did. And so I had these two ladies take me over to a record label, Black River Entertainment, where I signed my deal. And I just played a couple songs for them, and they offered me a record deal. I feel like my story is kind of a whirlwind. It definitely doesn't always happen like that. But I'd like to think I asked questions, and I was, a good person. I feel like people want to naturally help you out if you're not an ass. So, it's pretty easy.
Did you ever feel like at any point in your career, like, oh my gosh, this was my big break? And if so, what was it?
I feel like the day I got in the doors at Black River, because that just doesn't happen. I felt like that was my big break, and I was so nervous. And I knew I only got like 2 songs with them, and they brought in all these people and everybody, and I played the songs for them, and I nailed it. I'm not gonna lie, I nailed it. So I feel like that was like the start of, whatever reputation I have in Nashville, for sure.
That's awesome. Now, tell me about what's on the agenda with the release of your new album.
Oh, yeah. So the coolest part about being an artist today is that it really is the Wild West. There's no wrong or right way to create and get your music out there. So we just we're doing everything independent now. I'm funding everything myself with a distribution partner, which is basically a company that gets all your music out onto all platforms: Spotify, Pandora, Apple Music, everywhere. And so essentially we've kind of created our own record label. I've got my own head of marketing, a publicist. I create the music, got a manager, agent, and this distribution partner. And I feel like that's, I might be a little naive, a little overconfident, but we're sailing all right. So looking at some tour dates next year. We got the record done. It's just a matter of, promoting it. And through social media, marketing's pretty fun, pretty easy today.
I'm going to help. We're going to get this podcast out before you launch it, so we can also help.
That'd be awesome.
Do that.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, Abby, we're super excited for you. I know you are going to be a huge, huge, huge star. Well, an even bigger one. And, I'm so honored and proud for you. You're such an amazing young woman. And, your dad sent me a text message, and he said, Dr. Bill, thank you for, being part of our family. And I said, I am. You guys are family.
You are.
So I love you with all my heart, and I'm super proud of you, and I can't wait to see you become the biggest star you are.
Thank you. Thanks for having me, Dr. Bill. This was awesome. I appreciate you.
All right, Dr. Bill, over and out.
To learn more about the Leap Foundation, go to leapfoundation.com or find us on Facebook at facebook.com/Leap Foundation or on Instagram at Leap Foundation. Listen to the Meet the Mentor podcast with Dr. Bill Dorfman on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, or wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts.